Welcome back to Anno 1800. Last time we were working on trying to get our artisans supplied with the needs that they have. We got some canned food for them, but they still need sewing machines and fur coats. And we also have been struggling to maintain a steady supply of beer into Helena from Avon, where it's been imported. So right now, we want to take a look at rum and see if we can start a rum production chain. So to make rum, we're going to need sugarcane, and that is something available only in the New World. So we're going to go to the New World and take a look to see what sort of things we can do here to start making sugarcane. This is Great Falls, and we do have sugarcane fertility here. So it is time to build a new city. Now, looking at this island, I don't know if I necessarily have a plan for making this city mimic real life Great Falls. I would say not really, because the island is too different for me to really worry about it. So here, we're going to call this city Great Falls, but we're really going to just do whatever we want, and it's going to be our own sort of a creative work of art. We're not going to really inspire this build off of anything other than what we want it to be. And what we want it to be is a sugarcane plantation. Before we can do that, we need to expand our number of citizens here. So let's go ahead and start building some city blocks. I do like the idea of leaving room for an alleyway there.
There are a few things to bring up to the patron.
We don't need anything until we get a population of 50. We'll speed up the game a little bit here.
Ship constructed.
And I believe what's happening is population is dramatically going up and down in Helena because we keep running out of beer. And they get happy, and then they stop being happy when the beer runs out. And then they move out,
Agreed, a peace deal.
and they're willing to pay less
Check a copy?
taxes when there's no beer because they're less happy. Yep, see, there we go. It's even in the newspaper. Scarcity of beer in Helena due to shameful mismanagement means soul of society is draining away. How terrible. Poor, beerless citizens. Let's build a plantain farm.
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
See, this is what starts to be hard. You start having to kind of manage a lot of different things at once because everything's still happening back home. Yeah. Plantain farmer. Let's get the plantains going here. Time for some bananas. Plantains. I don't really even know anything about plantains. They look like bananas, but they're not bananas. It's very confusing. I've never actually tried one. That's the truth. Okay, we need a fish oil factory, and that is a fishing boat sort of a thing. So I guess in the New World, you have a fish oil factory, which is basically the equivalent of a fish farm in the Old World, like just a normal fishing wharf. Here is a fish oil factory. That's interesting. So we got a plantain farm, we got a fish oil factory, and now we just need a fried plantain kitchen. We'll go ahead and put it right there. And do we need a warehouse? I don't know if I need one yet, but I'm sure I will. So we're going to just go ahead and get that built while we're thinking about it. I probably ought to think about what my inspiration for Great Falls is going to be, because I do like I do enjoy I enjoy inspiring my builds off of something that's real, even if it's kind of a random thing I pick. It's just nice to use something as a little bit of a template, so you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. So maybe off screen, I will take some time and design a little bit of a street layout for Great Falls here. Maybe it'll be very, very loosely inspired by the real streets of Great Falls. I'll have to think about it though, because how I would fit a real world city's grid into this map, I have to really think about that, because this is kind of a unique map. It is pretty large though. Okay, so now we can build a sugarcane farm, and we're going to go ahead and, well, we probably should do a couple of them. And a rum distillery. We'll go ahead and do the whole operation right here in town. Which actually does make sense, because in Great Falls there is a beer factory, I believe, which is not the same as rum, but it's still an alcoholic beverage. So it kind of makes sense that we would make Great Falls the rum capital of the world here. Kind of a cool idea.
New orders, Admiral.
And now we're going to make a route. A new route from Great Falls to the New World. Or sorry, to the Old World. Making its way to Helena. We're going to be loading rum in Great Falls and unloading it in Helena. And as a matter of fact, we'll assign 2 slots to that purpose, because for the time being, the only thing we're going to really do with this route is just move rum. And we're going to assign our most recently constructed ship to this purpose. And it looks like we are in business.
You can rely on us.
And now we're going to switch back over to the old world. We're going to check on our beer situation. So that's really what we need to solve next. What do we got for beer here? We still are just not really making enough beer. So we're going to go over to Avon and take a look and see what we're dealing with in terms of supply there. We have an abundance of hops, significantly less malt. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, we're going to create a new route from Avon to Helena, and it's going to be a hops and malt exporting route. Actually, we'll even assign, we're going to assign 2 ships to that route. Hopefully we can get some, we're going to get the hops. We're going to get the hops and malt over to Helena, and then we'll process it on our home island here. We do have the ability to produce malt right here. So we're going to move ahead and do that. So really the only thing we need to be exporting from Avon is hops. Let's take a look and see if we need more wheat farms, because we may well need more wheat farms. Yeah, it looks like we do. So let's go ahead and do that.
What brings you here, master?
Then if we get our malt production going here, then we can convert the entirety of Avon's exports to hops only.
Ship under attack.
What do we got going on here? Ship under attack. Yeah, it looks like we're okay.
We lack the requisite materials.
Yep, so we got a brewery waiting for supplies. We should have enough wheat being produced. And we should have a reasonable amount of hops coming as soon as we get these ships up here. Now, we're not gonna export malt. We're gonna do hops only. And that should get us some hops to Helena pretty quick. And then what we may wind up doing is eliminating these wheat farms here in Avon and making those hops farms instead.
It's the boss.
But we do have a brewery at work here, so I don't know. We'll probably leave it the way it is. I think that'll be okay. We could certainly eliminate this lumberjack hut, though, and turn that into a hops farm.
Are those mountains moving?
Yeah, I think we'll do that.
Ship under attack.
More princess play in the lower field.
I'll put you back on dry land. I New orders, Admiral.
Okay, there we go.
Frigate first class.
And now we have 2 ships full of hops on their way to Helena. So let's make sure we have enough capacity in our breweries. We're going to do 2 breweries. So I really want the production to ramp up here as quick as possible. Now I see as we build these new factories, we are running a worker shortage now, so we will build some more houses. It's actually a fairly significant shortage of both farmers and workers. Not to worry, though. I think that's a good problem to have.
We not have trouble enough. A land lush and green.
Keep in mind the neighbor.
We running out of work clothes? No. We are kind of undersupplied for wool, though. Yeah, we probably better build another sheep farm. And another knitters. And we will keep on upgrading our farmers if we can.
Every rose has its thorns.
But we can't upgrade any more farmers until we resolve that work clothes shortage. We could, however, downgrade a few artisans if we needed to. I think we will. Kind of hate to do it, but we can't have a worker shortage. So that's okay. We'll downgrade 3 houses. It'll be fine. There we go. Beer supply is improving.
Boss me around all you like.
Now that we're producing beer here on our home island, it's going to be a lot easier to maintain the supply.
The fire is out of control.
We have a fire going over here, huh?
The fire left ruins behind.
Barns filled with owls. We must have dormice.
Looking good. Our income is improving. All right. I think we have an expedition in process, so let's go back to the Land of Lions expedition from last time and see where we're at now. Tomb Raiders, you are not alone seeking the fabled lost necropolis. A fable that seems just about credible when eyeing the pale golden shimmer of the wind-swept dusk from the seat of your camel. Somewhere out there in these wastes beyond cyclopean basalt pillars may lie the hoard of kings of old, and its greatest prize, the Vigil of Horror, a statue said to be made from the purest gold and inlaid with countless gems. Your stopover is a busy city on the Delta, not far from the supposed site of the tombs. A young woman with an academic demeanor hails you as you cross paths in the National Museum. "I've found something," she says, "and seek a responsible person to help the local museum recover it." We could decline, then secretly follow her. That's shady. We could give up on the promise of treasure and return to the ship. Or we could agree to help out of the kindness of our heart. Well, let's do that.
Me of superstition.
You recognize the insignia of the prestigious House of Sands University on the young woman's lapel. An erudite scholar, no doubt, explaining at great length that she cares little for riches and only wishes to see the history of her people returned to this museum. She lays a ragged, age-tarnished map on the delicate table in a musty back office. Strange symbols abound all over it, etched over crisscrossed lines that all lead up to a city facing a jackal's head. Asiaut, as mentioned in the Book of the Dead, it reads, "Follow the opener of paths, Anubis, the divine embalmer, who holds the key to Asiut." We need to find where the trail begins. The ship is now overburdened because we have a lecturer. Well, shoot. We've got an archaeologist, and we have to throw something overboard. That's too bad. Do we throw our guns away? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm not going to throw the archaeologist overboard. We could throw away our guns, or we could throw away our liquor. Well, all right. We'll throw away the schnapps. We'll keep our weapons, and we'll keep our canned food and this woman that we have found. I hope that's a good call. You recognize the insignia of the prestigious House of Sands University. Oh no, we already read that one. So, a god's followers pray to him at his temple, surely. Or examining the map should reveal the trail. It says, with your current equipment, your expedition is in no way prepared for this. Taking this action will be a gamble. Okay. Well, we're going to have to take a gamble. Sometimes that's what you have to do. The task is more arduous than it seems. After much befuddlement, you manage to find a point of convergence somewhere in the distant desert hinterlands. Gathering supplies, you hastily head into the desert, braving the scorching heat and dismally chilly nights in your quest for long-lost reward. As you head further into the dunes, however, you are swiftly sobered by the realization that you may already be hopelessly, and irretrievably lost. For how can you tell one dune from another in an endless sea of sand? We'll look to the sea and the north, and let Polaris guide us. That seems like a very good idea. Follow the North Star. Whoops. We lost the specialist. She died in the desert. The stars are strange and contrary. The familiar landmarks of the heavens seem oddly absent as you scan the night looking for anything that might help you get your bearings. It seems something does not want you to find a way out of the desert. You steal forward to the best of your ability, charting vague patterns and routes across increasingly desiccated paper. But every passing day drives you closer to death and insanity. Perhaps a cautionary tale will be told of your and the young archaeologist's disappearance. You wake up, pale and dizzy beneath a great ceiling fan in a sweltering hotel room. It seems it was a bout of cholera that took you to the edge and back again. Well then, we will continue our journey and go to the Charisma Canal. Traveling around the Mediterranean Sea, it appears. As the pyramids disappear into the haze, you think about where to go next.
I suppose she'll do.
And we'll provide some extra rations and keep on going. Our morale is dangerously low for that expedition. All right. Oh dear. Schnapps shortage. Sea battles. Mission foul up. I guess our people are getting frustrated, aren't they? Our adventures abroad aren't going well. There's no schnapps. Fights on the open seas. People are running out of overalls. It's a terrible situation.
Looks fair, but there's mould in the walls.
Well, let's check on the schnapps. Potato supply is balanced. Schnapps is undersupplied. So we definitely need another potato farm. And another distillery.
How do?
All hands at the ready.
And we have our next phase of the expedition available to us. It's the Charisma Canal. The explosion scattered debris across the canal as your helmsman carefully steers into the nascent Charisma Canal. A deafening blast ahead of you sends most of your crew sprawling across the deck. The initial shock overcome, they rush to their stations and pull the ship into a crawl, bringing it to rest mere feet away from the listling, flame-racked carcass of a ship. Doubtless it will be days before all is cleansed and navigation can resume. One of your sailors furrows their brow. Isn't it odd that there ain't no one in the water? Odd indeed. In fact, there's no trace at all of the exploded ship's crew. An irresistible mystery. We can observe the wreckage for information. We have a bonus success chance. And it looks like the other two options, to search for the crew or to request records, are both less likely to succeed. So we're going to go ahead and do that. One of your sailors recalls observing the ship while waiting to enter the canal a few hours ago, noting its peculiar propeller. Your crew sift through the wreckage in search of the apparatus and find it half torn from the stern. It is hauled aboard where one of your tradesmen examines it. See the blades? Old models, only ever fitted to a handful of ships, and only 2 of them so big. My guess is they're from the Innocents, except I heard the Crown bought her for salvage not 6 months past. His words slowly sink in. Can the Queen have conspired to sabotage the canal? If local authorities hear of this, well, I suppose we should pledge our loyalty to the Queen, because that's appropriate Fortunately, only a few crew members heard the ghastly secret. All of them are immediately pledged to silence, for Queen and country. When their duties have been resumed, your captain sends a carefully worded epistle to Sir Archibald Blake, assuring him of the crew's loyalty and abnegation in removing any evidence. Surely the Queen will reward such loyal subjects. Well, we have successfully squeezed through the Charisma Canal. Where to next? Do we go to the Holy City or to the Savannah? Well, Holy City sounds fascinating. Let's try that. And we'll give them more rations for the journey. All right. Well, since everything seems to be going better here in town, let's take a look at the sewing machine business. What does it take to make sewing machines? Iron, coal, furnace. So thankfully, it looks like sewing machines may be a pretty easy thing for us to provide because we already have all of the required production chain here on the island. So we're going to build a sewing machine factory here near downtown. Look at that. That's a big factory. Kind of impressively large, I would say. We're going to put it, yep, right there. We're going to take a look at our steel processing. We do need another steel processing plant now. Because if we don't, furnace rather. If we don't have another furnace, we're going to wind up with a shortage fairly soon. Now that's too far away. Too far away from the warehouse. Yeah, we'll put the furnace right there. Okay. And now we have a worker shortage again. So time to upgrade some more houses.
Untold perils await us.
And oddly, it looks like we're still struggling with the clothing shortage. So let's do another knitters. And another sheep farm.
Something's missing.
Watch your fingers, mate.
A holy pilgrimage. Tales abound of a city sacred to all in this land, and of the holy pilgrimage that must be undertaken by the faithful at least once in their lifetime. Intrigued, you dock at a busy port, a major hub for those on this journey. As you wander the streets in the cooling shade of antique Russians, the dust-hemmed white robes and sturdy sandals of the passers-by betray their wearers' devout intentions. Snippets of enthusiastic and fervent chatter convince your crew that they must see this holy city for themselves. You are pursuing an eager trader's wares when a man approaches, ornate weapons latched to his side and back. Marhaban, friends, are you here on pilgrimages? Ah, aye, we come from afar to see the holy city, or no, we have only just arrived in this land. Yes, let's say we have come from afar to see the holy city. We have. That's not a lie. Perhaps he would have believed you if it were not for the ostentatiously heathen jewelry sported by some of your crew. You narrowly escape a scathing reprimand, feigning ignorance of local customs and begging his forgiveness. But no glibness of the tongue can prevent him from sternly forbidding you from joining the caravan. Your crew, however, are not to be deterred, and the first light of dawn finds them preparing to sidle up to the long procession of pilgrims. Discretion will, however, be warranted, and a discussion arises as to how best to avoid detection. We could tail the caravan stealthily or abandon our plan to see the holy city. Well, we're already in it this far, so we'll just tail the caravan stealthily. The wadi proves harder to navigate than expected. A maze of winding, dusty corridors weaves in and out of sharp, low hills, and you cannot stay a safe distance from the caravan without the risk of losing them and finding yourselves stranded in the desert. As the evening nears and you set up camp, a familiar voice rings out from a ledge above your campfire. I thought I saw people following. The guard, his face swathed in a long, dark cloth, draws a cruel-edged sword, while his four companions cock their rifles. No faithless can travel this holy road without paying a price. So what'll it be? Wealth or blood? Well, bribing people may help them be convinced to help us. So we will surrender some of our possessions in the interest of surviving. And let's give them some guns. Maybe not that many. Can we do 10? I don't want to give them 50. That's too much. There we go. 10 sounds good. Your bribe attempt was successful. The crew trade several goods against their lives, but the officers still refuse to let them pass. Your party is rounded up and cantered back to the harbor, amid a fierce cavalcade of the officers' maroon-saddled horses. Turn away now, never to return, or suffer a cruel fate, their leader insists. You have no choice but to board your vessel and leave, having seen little of what these lands, harsh and beautiful in equal measure, have to offer the soul. Oh, we never got to see it. Well, let's go to the savannah next.
I suppose she'll do.
And a little more rations for the crew. I feel like we've had a kind of a rough time as we've tried to make our way to Enbesa. It has not been a very gentle experience. We keep running into trouble. But that's all right. I think we're going to make it. Real question is, At what point are we going to have enough clothing for our people to wear? And are we going to get caught up on schnapps production? Let's take another look. Schnapps production, we still have a little bit of a shortage. We need another schnapps factory and another potato farm. And it looks like the clothing shortage is coming to an end, but we do need one more sheep farm. So a sheep farm, potato farm, and another place that makes schnapps farm. There we go. A schnapps distillery. See, I don't know. There's so many different kinds of alcohol we already are producing. So our people are really a bunch of winos, aren't they? Because I'm sure you can make wine in the game too. Because we're making schnapps, we're making rum, and we're making beer. Probably as we level up, eventually we'll start making wine too, I would think. I'm looking at this post office button and wondering, what is a post office for? However,
We have the devil to pay.
we can't build a post office yet because we don't have the right kind of materials to make one. Not quite sure what I need to do to... I think it's aluminum or something you need for that. Well, let's go back to the expedition.
I hope you don't disapprove of gift giving.
Oh, Princess Queen gave us $9,000. That's nice. Blessed rains. Wide, sun-touched lands stretch out before you.
Under attack.
Long, pale grass glittering with the night's rain, while a scattering of trees provides occasional shade from the already warm orange sun. Unseen amongst the dense, matted grass, multitudinous creatures awake to the dawning day, nattering away gaily as the savannah comes to life. A low dell not a mile away hides a blossoming waterhole, where numerous strange and foreign beasts are gathered before the day's heat truly begins. Nestled in the shadows of a set of monolithic spurs, looming high above the plains, surely with views worthy of a king. We could scale the spurs for a bird's eye view, or we could go to the waterhole. Maybe the waterhole. Your party edges stealthily through the high grass toward the hidden waterhole. As they reach a ledge where soft soil has fallen into the muddy water below, they gasp in wonder at the teeming life gathered here. Scores of creatures huddle by the water. Tall-necked giraffes spread their legs awkwardly to lean down and lap the surface, while nervous meerkats and contemptuous nus-eye the waters warily, and with the suspicious profile of those drifting logs. It's not without reason. Suddenly, the ground shakes. You wheel about to see a manifestly infuriated rhinoceros charging at your company. Well, we could dodge or climb trees, stay still and silent, or scatter. Well, I think the thing about the rhinoceros is he cannot move quickly and turn, so perhaps if we just dodge out of the way, they'll just run right by, hopefully. Your captain singles out a sailor renowned for maneuvering rigging in heavy storms and orders him to lure the beast into a nearby tree. The man stands nervously, his terror evident as the rhinoceros bowls right into his path. He tries to lurch aside at the last minute, only to be skewered by the beast's impressive nasal horn. A terrified roar rises from the nearby water hole as the gathered animals sense the gore and panic, their anxiety soon turning into a stampede. The few crew members that do escape the terror-stricken beasts will be forever traumatized. Well, that didn't work out well. I guess that's about as bad as it could possibly get. I just thought we'd go to the water hole and get a drink. Instead, we all got killed by the animals. That's not good. We could go to Silly Amitos. Do we want to do that? Maybe we shouldn't do that, because our morale is pretty low after that rhinoceros event. We probably should just go to Enbesa and try to just get there without dying at this point.
How many lives have we left?
Yeah, it's been a rough trip. It really has. We only have 12% morale left. After watching so many of their fellow crewmates get abducted and killed and lost in dungeons and beaten up and killed by rhinoceroses, they're not in the mood anymore. Anyway, I guess if we can get there, we'll have unlocked that new map. And that's what matters. Schnapps supply is getting better. Work clothing is on the rise, but we did need to get another sheep farm. Yes, you can never have too many sheep farm.
We're taking every care.
This one don't look too scary. Do you mind?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
we won't
come
let
on.
Willy Wibblestock cannot settle on another island. We will not allow this.
Untold perils await us.
All right. Let me double check my production one more time. So now our wool and our clothing manufacturing is good. Schnapps is good. Potatoes are balanced. Do we have anything else that's an area of concern here? Wheat is a little bit potentially underproduced. And so is steel.
Ship under attack.
Nothing too worrying there, though.
Something for all seasons.
Okay, let's go back to that expedition. All right. Smoke on the waters. Ship astern, Captain. She's gaining on us. It's an attack. Powerful ship. Lateens caught with dry wind. Ports gaping with expectant violence. Swivels out of a hidden nook past the heavily wooded coast. She's flying a flag of carmine and sable, emblazoned with a triumphant sun. Colors unknown to any of the crew. As she deftly weaves in and out of the waves, catching the draft masterfully to close the distance with great speed, a thunderous explosion rocks her port side. Something whistles through the air and plummets into the emerald waters behind your ship. You swing hard to port, breaking line, as your gun ports creak open hurriedly, and your deckhands take careful aim. We could spray her rigging with chain shot, or we could aim to shatter her hull, and that's the one that we have the best chance of doing, so we're going to go ahead and do that. A first volley crashes into the enemy's side, then a second as the lower gun teams let loose. Fire leaps to claw at the gaping wound in the vessel's flank before its yard sunders, torn into two. Minuscule figures scuttle along its deck, struggling to smother the eager flames, before a sudden and mighty explosion sends all those on deck sprawling and scrambling, as the ship lists dangerously in the water. A burly man in what must be the officer's attire bellows over the din, his voice heavy with the tang of authority. He appears to be holding a young man at gunpoint. Mercenaries and murderers! Trust Katema to stoop to such methods? Silence your guns, or your friend here will taste lead. All right. Now we could offer a bribe, or we could say, I know neither this man nor the Katema of whom you speak. Well, perhaps we should not negotiate with terrorists. The man scoffs. A likely story. No sooner had your sails been sighted than he, the disgust in his voice is palpable, warned us to release him, lest you rain Katema's fury upon us. A glance at the young man's frantic countenance is enough to understand that he had, in fact, been attempting to intimidate the rogues so as to extricate himself from these dire straits. As he sorely attempts to retain some semblance of self-control, his eyes plead for your men to play along. Well, I suppose in this particular case, mercy would be the appropriate thing to do. We have to try to save this man from the abuse of his captors. So we will lie. We are Katema's wrath. Unhand him, or else. The man draws himself up with dignified fury. Wrath? His vengeance, you mean? Too long has he sent his hounds against us to clap the irons of his new empire upon our people. We will have none of it. We bow to no king that is not of the elder blood, least of all a common upstart. In a sudden flurry of movement, having sensed the captain's grip loosen, the young prisoner elbows him in the ribs and leaps into the sea before he can be seized. Shoot the emissary if you must, splutters the red-faced captain. But when the young man fails to resurface, he realizes his bargaining chip is gone. He orders his guns be turned. They are aiming for your crew. We could fire a volley of round shot just above their waterline, or a flaming shot at the ship's sails and shores. Well, we're going to do the volley a round shot above their waterline. Crackerjack. Your gunners slide the heavy 15-inch projectiles into the muzzle of the aftmost cannons, ripping some of their own shirts to pad the barrel and avoid windage, lest the ball deviate from its trajectory or explode before leaving the cannon. Your crew scramble to cover, then a flare of flame and resounding blast. Splintered wood soars into the air as the round shot tears through ballast, mast, railing, and bone. Sparse shots ring out, a foolhardy attempt at retaliation, before a second broadside crashes into the ship's underbelly. As your captain signals to leave these dangerous waters, a scraping, scrambling sound is heard on the port side ladder. We can aim rifles at the intruder or wait for him to show himself. Well, let's wait for him to show himself, because he might be that boy that jumped into the water. Hearing the dry click of rifles cocked and ready to fire, a voice protests from below the railing. Hold fire! I am the man they were holding prisoner. After a moment's silence, a hand appears on the railing, followed by the lithe figure of the young prisoner, evidently disconcerted by some score of rifles aiming at him. Sorry for dragging you into this unfortunate situation. Those rogues sank my ship and slayed my crew, and I was desperate for any kind of help. As he says this, the crew lowers their rifles a little. I feared they wished to prize from me my lord's secrets and plans. When I saw your sails, it seemed my only reprieve, so I told them Johnny Hoy Katima sent you. Yes, who is this Johnny Hoy Katima we keep hearing about? Emperor Sali Katima is the heir to the throne of Sela Maui, lord of the high and lowlands known as Enbesa, which you may refer to as the Land of Lions. Under his rule, Enbesa has risen to great heights of prosperity and might, as our emperor has a vision beyond that of his predecessors. A land united and bountiful, a nation to rival the great kings of old. The young man frowns warily. Alas, there are those who would not see our people united. The haughty princess of Angreb refused to yield to the emperor, and have resolved to wage war against him by any means, and to whatever ends. But why attack you? Of course, pardon my manners. I am Biniam, son of Kyria, emissary of his imperial majesty Ketima. I am on a mission to seek out experts from around the world, to assist with the many ambitions my lord has for Enbesa. The emperor wishes for the name of Enbesa to be sung and admired for its learnedness, beauty, prosperity, and wisdom. But let us not tarry here. Come, follow me to Tabarim, where my lord will be sure to reward your brave generosity. Set sail for the south, past the pillared reefs with ochre flowers. Cross the marshes, and then you will see it. Ancient Enbesa with gold-lit mountains, slumbering lions, and proud peoples.
These fabled lands exist after all.
And there we are. We've made it to Enbesa, North Africa. There's the lions.
Yani Hoy, Ketema. May I introduce my benefactor, a renowned city planner from the distant north.
Such noble hearts are ever welcome in Enbesa. So, you heard I was seeking for talent such as yours to expand our new capital.
Our meeting was serendipity alone, my emperor.
Then the Lord truly smiles on you. There is opportunity here to be part of a tale greater than all of us.
That's some beautiful scenery.
So far, I have neglected this arid province of the Empire, seat of the kings of old. But from the dust, a garden will bloom anew.
Beautiful.
Many
Love that.
lives of kings has it been since last Enbesa was so united, frail as that legacy may hold. Some would see us divided, each to their own purpose, but they are blind to the greater threat. Hungry eyes turning south towards us. In unison and with pride, we will return their stares.
So must all stand to defend their share, or be eaten.
And so to you, I would entrust the raising of Taborim, our new capital, on these lands. May it grow to unite all Enbesa under one covenant. Young Binyam will help you settle, share his plan for the canals. Taborim may soon shine like a jewel of peace on the girdle of this great nation.
It's amazing. It's amazing how different it looks compared to the old world. Like the new world and the old world do look different, definitely. But this takes it to a kind of a whole new level, really.
More than ready.
I wish to speak with you on matters of great importance concerning all Enbesa. Will you work with me to help my people?
Sure, let's go.
Saleh Ketema, Emperor to Millennial Enbesa and heir to the scepter of Covenant, bid you rest here a while, seafarer.
All right.
Unlocked.
New orders?
We have to sail to the lighthouse to introduce ourselves.
Steersman.
My ship doesn't have any supplies suitable for building a port, so might have to send another ship out this way. There's a little settlement there. Very cool. Can you imagine going on a long journey and then finally making your way to a place like this? Africa has a lot of beautiful places in it. I like how it's arid, and yet it's not a desert either. It's not inhospitable looking. Beryl O'Mara is already here.
Set sail. Let the sails fill.
Hopefully we can find a decent sized island or two here that is not already taken.
Here in the shade of my palace, shall you help me raise a new capital from the dust?
Click on Taborim's free trading post to take stewardship of it.
Not in vain do the wandering Westerlies bring you to Enbesa.
And where is this trading post? Oh, over here. Okay. So we get a trading post given to us.
You just crossed paths with the Great Wibbly.
Nice. Okay. So once we get here,
Unite the many peoples of Enbesa, you must prove you can provide for them all.
okay.
Hold your horses, or you may find their heads in your bed.
Very cool. Beryl O'Mara is angry at us for expanding. That's normal. Our influence has grown.
Attention for the Admiral.
And let's go ahead and do a little bit of exploring just to see what else we can find.
Steer us forth. Set sail.
Yep, this island is already claimed.
Steer us forth. Steersman.
We're going to figure out what islands are available to us. So here is an unsettled island. Looks like we're going to have to move fast since we didn't really hurry to make our way to this area. So our competitors got there first.
Let the sails fill.
Yep. Beryl O'Mara's got this island too.
Set sail.
She's been all over the place here, really getting to work.
Let the sails fill.
But we actually have several unsettled islands over here, so looks like we have plenty of options actually.
Queen, or may I?
Princess Queen wants to settle here. Looks like she's not there yet. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and tell Princess Queen she's welcome to settle there.
New soil, benevolent one.
Because we can settle.
A competitor raised a settlement.
Yep, so there's four unclaimed islands that we can still take. So we're just gonna have to get to work and claim those as soon as we can, so that we don't have a shortage of supplies when we start to need the commodities that are abundant here. Anyway, that's a good place for us to end this one. We made it through the expedition. We encountered a new region. And we got our supply chain a little healthier back home in Helena. So, till next time, thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye.